Hello, welcome everyone to my 1000 English Grammar Rules Explained live stream. This is the first time that I've tried to do a live stream like this where I'm hoping that I'm going to cover 1000 English grammar rules in 4 hours live. I'm also hoping that I can interact with some of you as you're watching. I will be watching the chat from time to time and seeing what questions come up. So if there's something you'd like me to explain in more detail, or if you'd like me to stop, go over something again, I will take as many requests as I can. Now, it depends on how many people make comments online, because I haven't done a live stream like this for a very long time. I have many more subscribers than I did the last time, so I'm not quite sure how many comments I'm going to get. But if there are not too many, then I will respond to all the comments and try and help you understand English grammar better, or just go into more depth. Any questions you wish, I'm ready to take on English grammar. And if you're watching this on catch up after the live stream has finished, please feel free to make comments in the comments box, and I'll try to get around to those shortly too. So let's get started. So this comes from my 1000 English Grammar Rules PDF, which you can get on the members area of my English with Rupert site, and I'll explain more how you can access that for yourself as we go through this live stream. So we're going to start with the letter A at the beginning, and the letter A means we're going to start with on the topic of articles. So I'll just go down to the place where we need to get to. So articles is a topic which sometimes I find people think, oh, I know how to use articles in English, because they're so small, aren't they? A, an, the, or just leaving an article out altogether. But they cause so many problems. Let's start with the basic rules, because even those sometimes are not so basic. Then we'll go on to the advanced ones. So first of all, let me take you through the first 5 rules here. So this is looking at a and an. And we use a or an before a noun when it is one singular noun of many, when you are not focusing on a specific example of the noun. It is the first time you've mentioned it, and you can count it. So let's have an example sentence first, because I've got this box at the bottom I'm going to use to write example sentences. Yesterday I saw a cat. So none of this is planned. I'm just going to go, I'm just doing this as we go along. So yesterday I saw a cat. So we have the noun cat and we have the article a. Notice with rule 5, if cat had begun with a vowel, I would have used an instead. So, for example, an onion, because O is a vowel sound. So, an onion, a cat. Let's stick with cat. So, why did I use an article here? Well, it fulfills all of the rules that we see in 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's a singular noun. I'm only talking about one cat. I'm not focusing on a specific example of a cat at the moment. What I mean here is one cat out of all of the millions of cats that exist in the whole world. It's the first time I've mentioned the cat in my story, and I can count cats, which is important, as we'll see in a moment. 1 cat, 2 cats, 3 cats. I can count them. So those are the basic rules of using a as an article. Now, before we move on, something I don't cover here, but I cover later on in the PDF, it's worth mentioning here. Sometimes we don't have to use an article if we have determiners or possessives or quantity words, then we wouldn't use the article. So if instead I'd said, yesterday I saw 1 cat, I don't need the a here because I have the quantity word instead. So we wouldn't say yesterday I saw a 1 cat. We would just say yesterday I saw a cat. Now I can see some comments are coming in already, so I'm going to quickly turn to where I can see my comments. Good afternoon, Taufik. I hope I've pronounced your name correctly. It's good to have you from Pakistan. It is very difficult to remember 1,000 grammar rules. So I like on my channel, I like to present lots of rules all in one go. So you have kind of like a video dictionary of grammar. It's something that I hope people will watch once, but then go back to again and again. So this video will stay on YouTube, and all of my other videos will stay on YouTube forever, as long as YouTube exists. So I hope that people will watch my grammar videos once, and then perhaps the following week will think, oh, I need to know about this grammar rule. I'll go back again. So that's kind of my thinking. I want to give you something on YouTube where you can have all of the rules in one place, but I don't expect you to remember them all in one go. So thanks for that question. Deng Deng, I hope I've said your name. Welcome to the live stream from South Sudan. It's good to have you live. I hope you learn a lot through this live stream. Oh, hello. Now, I've never tried to say your name before, so you can tell me in the comments I've got it right. Nailingrad or Nailingran. Tell me if I've got it right. Perhaps you could write in letters how I should say the name. But it's good to have you. Thank you for supporting my channel for so long. I remember when I just had 50 subscribers and you used to comment on my videos. It's really good to have you watching my videos, and I can see that your English has improved so much since I started on YouTube 3 years ago. So it's good to have you here. Lily, good to have you, Lily. I hope you enjoy this class, and please feel free to ask any questions. I know you often have good questions in the comment sections to my video, so please ask any questions you wish as we go along. So it's good to have you all here. Let's move on to the next part of articles, and that is looking at the definite article, which is the. So the, we use, instead of using a before a noun, sometimes we use the before a noun. And we use the before a noun generally for these reasons. I'm going to explain a little bit more as we go along, because sometimes you need to see two different examples to really get the difference between things. But generally they're covered by these rules 6, 7 and 8 and also 9. So number 6, it is unique in some way. If a noun is unique in some way, then we will use the before it. For example, the sun. There's only one sun. Well, in our solar system, there's only one sun. It's unique, and then for that reason, we say the before it. Rule 7, you are focusing on a specific example of the noun. And I'll come back to that in a moment. 8, you've mentioned it before in the same context. I'll come back to 9 in a moment once I've covered 0 article. But let me go back to my example screen here. I can see my screen. As I said, I've never done a live stream before. I'm sorry that there's a little bit of flashing on the screen. I think my computer is not used to not only recording but also broadcasting at the same time. So I am sorry about that. I hope you can still stick with it while I explain, even though I can see that it's flashing a little bit. So yesterday I saw a cat. Now I'm going to go into the second sentence. The cat was, what colour shall we have? Let's say black. The cat was black. So here I'm talking about the same cat, but now it's the cat. Yesterday I saw a cat. The cat was black. And this is because I've mentioned it before in the same context. It's the second time I've mentioned it. And usually, I'm going to come to an exception in a moment, usually when you mention a noun for a second time, then we switch from a to the. So yesterday I saw a cat, the cat was black. Now it fulfills the other conditions too, which is we're now focusing on a specific example of the noun. So which cat? Oh, the cat I mentioned in the previous sentence. That's the specific example. And also, it is unique in some way. How is it unique? Because we're only focusing on one particular instance of the noun now. Okay, so those are the basic rules of the. I'll come back to some more detailed rules in a moment. And rule 9 will become important in a moment too. So we've covered we've covered the. I'll just quickly look at your questions again. So Taufik, can you define the definition of rule according to grammar context? And some grammarians say that there are no grammar rules and it's based on concepts. Well, very quickly, there is a debate that goes on. I take one side of the debate very strongly. This is the debate about, do we even need to learn grammar? There are some people who've argued, don't try and learn grammar. Just listen, just read, and naturally your brain will take it in. After all, isn't that what babies do? Isn't that what children do? We never teach them grammar, yet they learn it. And then there are others that say, no, you do need to learn grammar. And I definitely say we do need to learn grammar. That is, if English or a language is not your first language. And research has been done that demonstrates that students who learn by not only communicating through listening and reading, but also who deliberately concentrate on grammar forms, students like those do better than students who don't. So that's really important to know. Research shows you will do better if you combine grammar with communicating as well. Also, I think I produced a video recently on my other channel that shows how your first language creates a structure in your brain for grammar that doesn't always translate to other languages. So for that reason, you need to learn grammar. Otherwise, the risk is that you use grammar from your first language when you're trying to speak in your second language. I think I've got a little bit off topic. Taufik, let me know if that answers your question. I definitely think to reach the highest levels of grammar, which is what I try to teach on this channel, to reach C1, C2 level, you do need to study grammar if English is not your first language. Perhaps for A2, B1, B2, you might be able to get away without too much study if you simply live in a country or immerse yourself in the language. That's my opinion. And Shohaz, I hope I've pronounced your name. Sharifa from Morocco. Welcome, Sharifa from Morocco. Welcome to the live stream. 1,000 English grammar rules explained, hopefully within 4 hours. I might not get through all 1,000, but I will try. We've been looking at articles so far. A, an, the. Now we're coming to zero article. So I'm going to go down my PDF to the next part. There we are. Okay, so now we're looking at zero article. So sometimes we don't need an article at all. We don't need a, we don't need an, we don't need the. We just have the noun on its own. And we use no article before a noun when it is one plural of many. When you are not focusing on a specific example of the noun, it's the first time you've mentioned it, and the noun cannot be counted. Now, 10 or 13 could apply here. It could either be a plural or it could be an uncountable noun. Let's go back to my cats example. Cats were seen by the road. So here I have cats. It's a plural, so I don't need a or an. It's the first time I've mentioned it, so let's delete this story now and pretend we're starting a new story. This is the start of a new story. Cats were seen by the road. This is the beginning of my story. It's the first time I've mentioned the cats. It's a plural noun. And I'm not focusing on a specific example of cats. I just mean a group of cats out of all the millions of cats that live in the world. So 10, 11, 12 are all fulfilled here. 13 introduces something else, though. You can use zero article if the noun cannot be counted. Let's use this as an example. There was water by the road. So here I'm focusing on the noun water. And water is what we call uncountable. We cannot count it because it's a liquid. It's too difficult to count. It's what's called a mass noun. And these nouns don't need articles in front of them. So that's the 0 articles. So those are the real basics. But I'm going to show you a text that I use in my first members lesson, and through you'll see in the bottom right corner of your screen you can become a member of my channel. I've set up a new membership where I'm going to go into extra detail with some of these grammar topics. So my general channel that's free for everyone is like the dictionary of grammar, but in my new member section I'm going to teach the grammar points. So that means looking at texts that contain examples of the grammar, give you exercises, opportunities to practice your writing, and an opportunity to send things to me, and I'll give you my feedback on. So this is the members area, and I'll be talking about that as we go through this live stream. I'm going to go to a text that I share in that members lesson, because there's a little bit more that I want to explain about articles that just makes it a little bit clearer. So this is a text that I use in my members area. And there's just a few things that I want to demonstrate from this text that help you understand, because I think sometimes there's confusion. When does something need the, and when does something not need the? So let me read through this text, and then I'm going to highlight a couple of issues here. So yesterday, a strange cat entered my garden. The cat had a long tail and black fur. It likes to drink milk from the bowl in the kitchen. The milk comes from a shop in the city where we live. I'm going to first of all highlight this sentence. I'll underline everything. So it refers to the cat. So the cat likes to drink milk from the bowl in the kitchen. So milk is a liquid, uncountable. It's the first time we've mentioned it, so 0 article. But look at the next one, the bowl. Why is it the bowl here? It's the first time I've mentioned the bowl, and there's only one of them. So why the? And the reason why it comes from what comes afterwards. Let me quickly go back to the rules for the on my PDF. And rule 7, you are focusing on a specific example of the noun. So here I'm focusing on a specific example of the bowl. Why? Because of what comes afterwards, in the kitchen. I'm talking about a bowl, but this bowl is in a specific area. I have defined the area where I find the bowl. It's not just any bowl, it's the bowl in the kitchen. So imagine a kitchen in your house, and imagine a bowl is on the floor in the kitchen. That's where the cat drinks milk from. And there's only one in the area that I've defined. And that's the key thing sometimes when we're choosing whether to use a or the. We need to think, is it specific to an area that I have defined myself? If I had not said in the kitchen, then it would have made sense to say a bowl. I'm just talking about any bowl out of all the bowls that exist. But as soon as I define the area, and I put it in a phrase that's attached to the noun, so they're not separated. It's the bowl in the kitchen. I've got a preposition phrase, in the kitchen, attached to the bowl. As soon as I do that, I've specified the area where I find a bowl. so the bowl becomes specific. There's only one in the kitchen. There's only one in that area. So I use the. Now, if there had been lots of bowls on the kitchen floor, then I could have used a, because it would have been one of many bowls on the floor. But usually cats only drink from one bowl. So I think it's safe to say the bowl in the kitchen. It means only one in the kitchen. So I think that's an important thing to learn when you're deciding when should I use the instead of a to be specific. It's when you have another phrase attached to the noun that limits that noun in some way. And if only one instance of that noun falls within those limits, then use the. So I hope that's helpful. I'll go back to the comments before we go on to the next part of the PDF. Taufik, I'm glad that seems to have answered your question. Well, I'm just looking at your first comment. I haven't come to your second comment yet. And hello, Miranda. Hello. When we are talking generally, for example, cat is a domestic animal, which article does it need? I'm glad you've asked that, because on the next page of my PDF, I'm going to answer that question for you. I'm going to talk about when we speak about something in general on the next page. So keep following and tell me in a moment if I've answered your question or not. And Taufik, actually I'm doing an MPhil in English literature, but I need your WhatsApp. I don't do WhatsApp for business, I'm afraid. I only do emails. So please do send me an email. There's my email address on the about on my channel page. Send me an email and I'll work out a way to contact you that works for both of us. I'll be very pleased to hear from you. Thank you, everyone. Let's move on to the next page then. So we're still looking at articles, but we're going a little bit deeper into them on the next page. Okay, so articles, advanced rules. So some of these I'll go through quickly, and some of them I'll go through in a little bit more detail, because I think some are more obvious than others. Okay, rule 14. Now, this is a rule that I don't see in any grammar books anywhere. But if you do a search of English texts on Google, you'll see that this is quite common. Let me give you an example. I'll read the rule first and then I'll give you the example. So a and an can be used after copular verbs when mentioned for a second time. Let's go back to our first example about the cat. Yesterday, I saw a cat. It was... How do I fill this gap? How do I fill it? Yesterday I saw a cat. It was... I won't ask you to put it in the comments because there is a little delay between the comments coming to me and you putting them in there. But the correct answer here, surprisingly, is... No, it's not S. It's a. It was a black cat. Doesn't that break the rules? Aren't we supposed to use the for the second mention? Well, not always. No, actually, if we have this kind of sentence, subject, verb, complement, or we could say a noun coming after a copular verb. In this case, no. In the second mention, we will still use a. Think of it this way. This is a sentence where the noun the object actually describes the subject. What is it? A black cat. So a black cat tells us what it is. And in this kind of structure, the second mention has a before the noun, which is quite surprising, but check it everywhere. It's always this way. So that's rule 14. I'm going to need lots of water to get through 4. I don't know how I'm going to get through 4 hours. I'll do my best. Rule 15. A or an can be used before a group noun. So a simple example here would be there are 11 players in a football team. So 11 players is plural, but team is a noun that describes all of those players as one, and therefore we don't treat it as plural for the sake of the articles. We treat it as singular. So football team, rule 15. 16. When introducing, and I hope, Miranda, this might start to answer your question. When introducing an example to represent all types of that noun, then we can use a or an. So the example here is a monkey is a type of animal. So here, a monkey, we're not really focusing on monkey itself. We're focusing on animal. And we're presenting monkey as a type of that animal. Now, this is one of the parts of English grammar that's nicer, because with this kind of meaning, you can't really go wrong. Because it's okay to say a monkey is a type of animal. That's fine. And it's also okay to say monkeys are animals. And you may even say, I think the next one is slightly less used, but it's not considered a mistake. You could also say the monkey is a type of animal. They all mean the same thing. One of them has a, one of them has the, and one of them has no article. You'll find examples of this in English everywhere. So this is one situation where it's not so crucial to choose between a, the, and no article. Either way, you're probably going to write something that's acceptable. So that's 16. On to 17. Okay, now we're going on to the. So the can be used before a group noun as well, and if the other rules for using the are fulfilled. So very simply, the team wears black. So there are 11 players in a football team. I'm going back to the team example here. There are 11 players in a football team. The team wears black. So here we have the second mention of the noun. So we revert back to the rules for a and the. In essence, a group noun is treated like a singular noun. So a team for the first mention, the team for the second mention. Okay, let's go to the comments and then I'll carry on. So Darth Reven, I hope I've said your name correctly. Welcome, Darth Reven. Very kind comment. Thank you. I do appreciate the comment, and I hope you enjoy this live stream. And Taufik, please type the email address. I shall do so. So my email address is inquiries@rupertwalsh.com. Okay, so that's my email address. Please do contact me. I'll be delighted to hear from you. Let's move on. So rule 18. The can be used when specifying a noun to make it unique with an adjective. So this goes back to what I was saying before about defining the area that you find a noun within. So let's go back to the cat example. Again, I haven't planned any of this, so I'm just going to think of an example as I'm going along. So I have the word a cat. Let's say a Scottish cat. So I'm just going to develop some ideas here. But what I'm trying to do here is I'm starting with for a cat because I'm thinking of a cat that is just one example out of many. But as soon as I specify enough so that I'm left with one example of something, then I will switch to the. So a cat, a Scottish cat, but the Scottish cat on the roof of the house opposite. Now I switch to the. Why? Because I have specified enough so that only one of that noun falls within the area I have described. So that's where an adjective, this can also be used with adjectives to make a noun unique. So if the adjective itself, let me try another example to make it easier for you. There are two cats. One is black. One is white. I own the black cat. So here we know that there's only one black cat because I've just told you there are two cats. One is black, one is white. I own the black cat. So here the adjective limits and brings it down to just one cat. So that's rule 18. 19 is fairly well known. The can be used with superlatives. The best cat. The fastest. Or fattest cat could be. The fattest cat. So superlatives also create that idea of having one of something. Now, please excuse me, I'm just going to open my window because I've realised that my room's going to get very, very hot while I do this live stream. So I'm just going to break off just for one moment. Okay, apologies for that, but I'm getting very, very hot. Okay, let's move on to the more advanced rules for the zero article then. So number 20, zero article can be used with topic nouns in a general sense. So what do we mean by a topic noun here? Well, I put an example on the PDF here. History is a study of the past. So history is a topic noun. History covers lots of other bits of information. So many nouns we have are like that. Where we have one noun that describes lots of things. So history is a study of the past, and these nouns often will be zero article. Also with abstract nouns that are not usually counted. For example, academics have knowledge about a subject. So here we're focusing on the word knowledge. Knowledge is an abstract noun. By the way, academics refers to people who teach in a university setting. So it's a plural noun, that one. But knowledge is an uncountable noun, but it's also an abstract noun, so we don't put articles before it. Okay, let's move on to number 22. So zero article can be used to say what a plural noun is usually like. Now, I covered that before. We can use a monkey, the monkeys, or we can even say monkeys. So this is what I mentioned before, that when we're saying what something is usually like, or we're giving an example of something, then we can use the zero article. This one's slightly different actually to the ones I mentioned before. So if I go back on my notes to the ones I mentioned before. So the example I gave before was here. A monkey is a type of animal. Monkeys are animals. The monkey is a type of animal. So here it's where we're giving one thing as an example of something else. But in Rule 22, monkeys like eating bananas. This is slightly different because it's saying what something is usually like. So let me put the example down here. Now I could potentially do the same again. So once again, we use all of the different articles in order to present examples of what they're usually like. So all of them do these things. Okay, that's the first 2 pages on articles. Now I'm going to go to some more general features of articles that are not necessarily grammar rules that cover everything, but they cover individual aspects of them. But before we do, just during this live stream, I'm going to occasionally break off and just also mention, because I know people may be joining and coming out of the live stream all the time, mention that you could become a member of my channel now. This is something new I've launched this week, where you can become an English with Rupert member. So as well as getting all of the free videos that I post on English with Rupert, if you become a member, you'll get extra videos that go into more detail and present more of a teaching experience for you, where I will teach grammar points with looking at the rules, but looking them in context of longer texts. I'll give you exercises to complete, and I'll give you writing tasks where you can get my feedback if you become a member of the channel. So you simply go into more detail. As I think I mentioned earlier, my videos on English with Rupert are more like dictionaries of English, and my lessons on my members area will be just that. They'll be like taking a course of English, where I will teach you and go through things more slowly. So if you want to become a member of my channel, go to the English with Rupert channel page and click join. Also, you may be interested in my website, englishwithrupert.com, which has some courses and PDFs that I produce that are available for you. Some of them are free and some of them you join by signing up. Anyway, let's get back to articles. Just after, I'm just going to take another 30-second break to get some just a drink and some fresh air. I'll be back in about 30 seconds, so don't go away. I'll be right back with you. Okay, welcome back. So we're going on to articles and special rules. So sometimes we use the for particular reasons instead of using zero article. So I'm going to go through these quite quickly because I've covered them on my channel a few times. So we use the with countries which are real words, plural, or island groups. So the United States is a country that has real words that you'll find in the dictionary. So we use the before it. Plurals such as the Netherlands, so it's a plural word, use the. and island groups. So the Azores is an island group that belongs to Portugal in the Atlantic Ocean. A group of islands, so we call them the. Rivers and oceans. We would never say I have been to the river. Sorry, let me start again. To a river Nile. We'll never ever say that. We always say I have been to the river Nile. And the same with oceans. I have been to an Atlantic Ocean. Well, we'd never say this. We would just say I have been to the Atlantic Ocean. So rule 24, rivers and oceans use the. 25, mountain ranges, deserts and forest all are the same here. So the Himalayas, which is a mountain range between Nepal and China. I'd never say a Himalayas, it's always the Himalayas. Now, rule 26. Now, we need to take this, I'm going to skip forward and cover this and another rule as well at the same time. North, south, east and west, when they are nouns meaning that area. So in the north is correct, and I would not say in north. No, I wouldn't do that. But if I have a noun afterwards, it switches. I would not say, so this is a state in America, I think. I would not say in the North Dakota. I would say in North Dakota. So when we have north, south, east or west and a noun afterwards, then we don't use the. But if we don't have a noun afterwards and we simply mean in that area, then we would put the in front of it. Okay, rule 27, I also need to take alongside another rule as well. Something you'll often hear if you live in an English-speaking country is something like this. I'm going to the shops. Now here, a shops means the same as a group of shops in a specific place.